This food bank is one of thousands in the UK. The YMCA says donations to this one have gone up more than 50%. But the pandemic has triggered a recession around the world, which means more people will have to rely on charities to survive.
So things like food banks and providing people with food or cash in emergencies in coronavirus in this coronavirus outbreak is critical, because unfortunately it is that last option for people. Nobody wants to go to a food bank. That is not someone's choice. That has been forced upon them because of the situation they're in. So this is for many the only lifeline to be able to ensure that them and their families have the food they need. So Oxfam and other organisations like in the UK and everywhere are ensuring that we can provide for these people that are in a very vulnerable situation.
The future prospects for a lot of people in the UK are very, very bleak. And I hate having to say this, but it's a reality. The reality is that there's going to be millions unemployed. There's going to be a lot less money going around. There's going to be a lot of businesses that go out of business. Thousands of businesses, actually, perhaps even tens of thousands are going to go out of business. And the effect on everybody is going to be really quite dreadful. The effect on charities, perhaps even worse. And the problem is with that, of course, that the charities are there to help the very people who can least help themselves. So the people at the really tough end of society, financially and health-wise, are going to be in a real horrible mess this next few years. And I would really implore people, anybody that can afford to give, to help all charities. Of course, help Caudwell Children if that's your preferred charity, but just help all charities, because they're going to go through a terrible time. And those people that most need help are going to be more neglected than ever.
Many charities rely on shops like this to fund their international work, but the restrictions mean they're taking a lot less money now. In the UK, the Oxfam shops have seen their takings fall by almost a third compared to this time last year.
We have hundreds of shops here in the UK, and it's meant that several million every month was being lost because they were closed. And that money allows us to provide humanitarian assistance in emergencies and also provide livelihood support to people around the world. So it's had a massive dent in our ability to respond to COVID-19, but also to other emergencies that are continuing along with the COVID-19 global disaster.
The impact of the pandemic has been catastrophic on Caudwell Children, like most charities. The issue for Caudwell Children especially is that because of our International Children's Centre, where children have to come into the centre, they've not been able to do that. So all of those children out there with autism who we've been trying to help and helping sort of in our own centre environment, we've not been able to. So we put an online service to try and minimise the negative effect. But of course, the negative effect is still huge, because it's far more satisfactory coming into the centre than trying to do something over an internet call. And then on the financial side, of course, it's been completely catastrophic, because up to yet we've probably lost about £5 million in raised money from the ball and from other events that we would have been running. So it's just been a devastating situation.
Many charities rely on fundraising events or sponsored activities like marathons or cycle rides. But many of these have been cancelled. Some have been scaled back due to social distancing restrictions.
There's very little way of making up the lost money, because our model is all around external events like cycle rides and balls and all of these different events that we do, which are all really badly affected from a social distancing point of view. Modesta and I have just organised a charity bike ride on the 25th in Monaco and a gala dinner on the 26th. The bike ride should be very successful, because we can obviously maintain the social distancing and hopefully get about 100 riders, although that's affected now by Boris's introduction of this 14-day quarantine. So even that's in threat now. But then with a gala dinner is very restricted, because we can't pack a lot of people into a room like we did before. So, the amount of funds we raise are going to be significantly reduced. So it's all very, very tough, and it's very tough for most charities. And, and it's such a difficult situation that the it's very difficult to find any way of properly recovering.
And one of our big ways of fundraising was through events. So we used to do, with the London Marathon, we would have people run for us and fundraise for Oxfam. We have an event called Oxjam where people would have, set up their own music events, concerts, gigs, and they would fundraise for Oxfam like this. So what we're seeing is people can't do these events. And that is a massive impact on our ability to, help people around the world with that money. But also I think also for the people that fundraise, it doesn't allow us to engage with our supporters in the same way and keep that consistent engagement with our supporters if they can't do events with us.
Many artistic activities rely on charities to operate. Venues are now open again in the UK, but the loss of income and the social distancing measures means that donations are absolutely vital.
For us here at the Minac, for example, when we cancelled our season, we refunded about £330,000 worth of tickets for people that had booked for the coming season, and we had a really quite reasonable rate. Lots of people were very, very generous, and when we went to say we'd like to give you the refund, they'd say, actually, please, I want to make that as a donation. So we were then able to share that. Obviously, that was very beneficial for us. It was our only income for 3 or 4 months, so for us it was absolutely brilliant just to have a little bit of money coming in and not just watch all the money going out. But we also shared that with our performing companies as well, because obviously the freelance performing sector in this country has been decimated. They lost their work immediately, and those professionals have just literally got no way of earning any money because no shows can happen. So we were able to share those donations, both to benefit us as a charity, but also to let some of those performers have access to some of those funds, which was fantastic. Here at the Minac, we're quite unusual because we operate entirely without any public subsidy at all. But the public subsidy that does come into other arts organisations across the UK is just really important, and it funds all sorts of work that actually, you want to deliver for whatever charitable reason within your community, which actually you simply cannot earn the income from. So that is a huge part of this sector. And yes, there are many other theatres around the country in the UK who are very heavily reliant on the donations that come from the general public, either specifically for areas of work or just as a gesture of goodwill.
A new survey has revealed that almost half of the small charities in the UK could be forced to close their doors because of the lack of financial support.
It is incumbent on anybody that can really afford to help. But I think even stronger than that, I would really, really say that the businesses that have benefited out of Corona, and there are some, Jeff Bezos's wealth has gone up by about 70 billion during Corona as a result of the demand from Amazon. I think anybody that's benefited like that, they're almost completely morally obliged to help people, to help out, because this gap between the rich, the mega rich, and the incredibly poor is widening desperately as a result of Corona. And so everybody needs to get a camaraderie, a spirit of cooperation and help to help all those people that are in desperate trouble.
The World Health Organization says the number of people with COVID-19 is accelerating. So are the number of people dying. The pandemic may also lead to the death of charities. Deborah Hadfield, Arise News.